Grambo Bros, talking about plants and how they go. Let's go. From seeds to the cure, we always smoke pure. Nothing but good vibes up in here. We blaze the ganja, keep it fire. Grambo Bros, burning desire. Learn about cultivation, step by step. You can rock out the negativity. Cannabis vibes coming in. Grambo Bros, I'm something in.
You'd think I do this professionally or something, right? Like, you know, like I'm paid professionally. I hang out. I do all this shit. You'd think I know how microphones work. You think I know how that shit works? No, 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 no. For all you guys, so I was just giving shout outs. I was saying, what up, Cav? What up, Joe? What up, Chief? Mark, Raider, Mr. Tinkerstrain, Cavs, Cannabis Vibe, my man. Yeah, no, I'm so this was you guys, if you are a fan of the Grambo Grows little universe, I probably missed last week. And so yeah, it's been fucking crazy. This last week has been absolutely nuts. I have little to no energy. It's just been constant. Like, it's hard for me in my life to complain because, like, well, what were you so tired doing? It's like, oh, well, I was hanging out with all these cool different people. I had like 4 first dates in like a week, 4 different girls, like chaos. That's a, and on that subject, this is as good a time as any to, I'll bring it up a little bit later once some more people start populating. Is audio good now? CB, you say I got a voice. Everything's groovy. Yeah, at Dude Grows, I have you guys know I have my cans, and I get my cans all going through. Yeah, shout out to the bucket. Love the bucket. So yeah, I missed last week. It was pretty much, yeah. Well, I didn't bang all of them. Cannabis Vibe. That's the distinction there. First dates are brutal. Like old Papa Grambo. I'm pretty like charismatic in the world, but oh my god, I fucking suck at first dates, dude. And I don't suppose I'm telling you guys anything that you don't already know. First dates suck, but I'm fucking me. Look how fucking cute I am with this beard and baldness. I'm making the baldness work. You gotta give me that. So point being, literally one of my like pet projects that I've been wanting to like take on in the world is I don't like what's going on in society. Like, obviously another obvious statement, but for me it's not political. It's like emotional, like the people. Like, I don't know if you guys have heard, like there's this weird loneliness epidemic going on. Like half of the bottom half of single men in this country haven't been laid in the last year and a half. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. People are having a hard time making money, a hard time meeting each other. And so I got divorced 3 years ago. I started over from absolute zero, penniless, no clients. I was doing freelance work on a website called Upwork, where you can get free, or you can get freelance work as you can apply for and everything. I was at the bottom of the barrel, but I knew in my heart, I knew what I needed to do. I had all the education. I just needed the fortitude. And when you have education, it's just, who fucking knows what any of that shit is. But when you actually apply it and you go, holy shit, it worked. And so I had a lot of business knowledge, and I have developed a lot of like how to be a single guy knowledge. And so I was starting to think like there's no one really out there that isn't toxic. You know, you get those Andrew Tate kind of characters. And I don't have any problem with Andrew Tate. I've listened to a couple things that he's done. Seems like a fairly smart fella. I think he's just super into that fucking marketing world. But yeah, I want to start doing something. So I came up with this idea of like what would be, as I'm always hanging out with high C, I'm always thinking like business marketing, like what's the angle just for fun. And then over this fucking this last little bit I got thinking about it, and I was thinking about this idea of a podcast just called Laid and Paid. It's about business and dating, and what it is a Trojan horse. I want everyone to like, oh, late and paid. I want to fucking make money. Let's do this. But then once you get there, it's all about like inner healing and forgiving yourself and forgiving your parents, forgiving your ex, forgiving your coworkers, your boss, like self-love, healing. I really want to like Trojan horse, like, yeah, make money and get laid. But actually, you know how you make money and get laid? By fixing yourself and learning how to love yourself. So I'm starting the Laid and Paid podcast. That's my passion project. This Grambo Grows is just like, I have all this grow knowledge. I live in this cannabis lifestyle, and so obviously I love that, and that's what I do. But this Laid and Paid thing, it's my passion project. So I'm gonna catch a lot of hate for it, but I think once people actually watch it, I think they'll see that what I'm doing is all for the heart of good. I've gotten so lucky, like business wise, like hanging out with Scott, I see all the Jug crew, the 5/8 crew. Like I was hanging out with Jair from Gavita. Jair was one of the guys that essentially invented Gavita lighting. The double ended didn't really exist on the cannabis, but there wasn't a cannabis lighting market. Jair kind of invented that. I'm hanging out with him in Vegas, and he's just telling me about the rough times, and I'm just like, man, this is like where I'm lucky. Like I get the best advice on earth, and I want to give that advice to you guys. It's doing me no good just rattling my head, and you don't really understand something if you can't teach it. So I'm gonna start teaching how online dating works, how money works, how investments work, how the psychology. I'm reading a book right now, The Psychology of Money. We're going to do book reviews after I finish a book. My goal is to read about 40 books a year. And so I got a lot to talk about, and no one in my life's interested. So if any of you guys are single, looking to self improvement, any of that sort of stuff, just you can follow me over there. It's at Laid Paid on YouTube. If I get a handful of subscribers over there, to give me a little bit of motivation to actually get it going. But just know my heart's in the right place. This doesn't take away from any of my cannabis cultivation content sort of things. It's just my little hobby thing that I really want to talk about with people. So yeah, that's the plug for the Laid and Paid podcast. For everyone else that's been following me, you guys know that I have been having problems with the Puffco world, and I've settled on the Dr. Dabber Evo. First couple weeks, I wasn't sure about it. I wasn't totally feeling the Evo vibes, but I got a new top for it. This nice, dope, like little mini shower head diffuser, some bitch. And I got some of this Gary Payton live resin that jug dealer Gabe had processed by the guy who invented live resin, Kind Bill. So about a half ounce of that shit. So Cannabis Vibe, the guy who made the Jug Dealers theme and the Grambo Grows theme. So we get the Josh Grambo experience. 100%. Dude grows. I can't I can't be fully honest over there. They can't handle that shit. I can't I can't actually tell. Like my life's insane at times. Most of the time it's boring as all holy fuck, and I'm sitting doing absolutely nothing. But it goes from absolute boredom to fucking awesome pretty quick. And I can't tell almost any of my stories on Dude Grows. They're too fun. you know. So I definitely can't fucking I can't say that I'll be censoring myself. One thing you can tell about a comedian is we do not censor ourselves. I am an open freaking book, which is pretty awesome because if you guys are just joining, it's always tough. I'm not sure who I can get for streams and everything. And so, interestingly enough, I got a message from a, a buddy of mine that is now a good buddy named Eric Esteban. And so, AKA Flipsy Hustle, this motherfucker. And so he ends up hitting me up, just DM, just reaching out. And he's like, yo, man, I'm a cannabis content creator and a stand-up comedian. All right, I'm listening. What up, bro? And so he's the real deal. This guy is I mean, I've got some real steez in the comedy game, but I've been taking a back seat to kind of get my money situation figured out and get all this all the yada yada figured out in my life. And so I had to take a little bit of a back seat in comedy over the last year. And I'm super, super, super excited to get back. And this guy, he's had I dropped it. I think it's his first special. I'm not sure. It's a big deal in a comedian's career. Once they've done enough stage time that they feel like, all right, I've been doing this material for so long that I'm sick of it, and I just have to burn it. And so they will drop it in some sort of comedy special, and they'll put it out. Shout out to everyone over there on Instagram, Rolling Fatties. Thank you for those seeds. Got some awesome Odin's breath from him. Right now, my seeds from Three's Genetics. I got the Laser Moose running, and I'm super stoked. These seeds are virile. Oh, look at Dad Marino. You using my Christian name? You over here using my Christian name? That's what Scott will always say. Scotty always be like, Josh, can I call you Josh? Can I use your Christian name? I go, please, of course. I don't know, V Shack, Shackleford, Yo Joe. You're in Austin? Candace, you in Austin? For real? Like, if you're in Austin, can I stay with you? I'll come next month. Like the Kill Tony crew is down there. Fucking yeah, I went to Kill Tony a few months ago and I didn't make it on. Put my name in the bucket. I worked on my minute like a beast, 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 beast. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm not ever gonna. I ain't in the realm of playing Rogan's Room just yet. But I want to go. Maybe they got an open mic or something. I want to go network, say what's up, holding it down out here in Denver. Denver's fourth or fifth biggest comedy city. People usually surprised about that. Hundreds. The Denver Comedy Works is amazing. It runs comedy like minor league baseball. You like call into a hotline or sign up online for the list, and every few weeks they put you up in the new talent program. And so you start at an N and you work your way up. And so I'm a C. And so once you grow up, you get to like an A where you're an unpaid regular and you start opening up. Like my buddy just opened up for Joey Diaz not too long ago. Dana Gould from is the producer of The Simpsons for a long time. So Wendy Curtis of the Denver Comedy Works, one of the most important people in comedy. A lot of your favorite comedians. I mean, even up to Mr. Joe Rogan himself. If I met Rogan, I was like, "What's your opinion on Wendy Curtis?" He would be like, "One of the baddest bitches on earth," and God bless her for existing. Rogan filmed one of his comedy specials at the Denver Comedy Works, and so I'm very very pleased to have been able to hang out in that freaking world. I've done that stage dozens of times. But Chris, Ah, Comedy Central, bro. I may or may not own the URL comedycentraldenver.com. You know, Comedy Central, Denver. I don't know. You always hustling, always be hustling. So yeah, so is that official? The Cannabis Vibe? Are you in Austin? I don't do Rockies, the mountains. What's the? I don't watch sports anymore. I was a hardcore hockey guy, and I had to stop watching sports. I was like, it was sucking up too much of my life. It was just ridiculous. But so when I was talking without the sound on, I was giving a shout out to my guy up here. Let me scroll up and find his comment. It was God damn, thank you guys for so many comments. God, look at all these freaking comments. I'm trying to scroll back to like 5 minutes ago. Y'all's in here represent. Just know that like my life is like busy and crazy and nuts, and I'm tired. I literally put my kid to bed like half an hour ago. And last week I was just too freaking tired to do the stream. And then a couple folks reached out and were like, yo, man, like I was all like ready to go, and like no one was there. Like, where's the stream? I was like, oh shit, people actually like care. So yeah, if you actually care, throw a comment, not in the live chat. Go put a comment in the actual comment section, and let me know you actually care. Because if you actually care, I just always assume no one cares. It's a great line in A Bronx Tale when fucking when Calogero is talking to the mafioso guy, and he goes, if Mickey Mantle can't, if your dad can't pay your rent, is Mickey Mantle gonna take care of you? Nah. You know why? Because he don't care. Nobody cares. El Canasur. Yeah, we enjoy the Grambino. Hell yeah. Well, thank you guys. Seriously, it means all the world to know that people are actually on this journey with me. And I don't know where the hell I'm going, but I keep meeting weirder and weirder freaking humans and more and more famous people. Yo, what up, Penn? Iowa in the house. Represent. Oh, my man, living that. Did you see Sir Hunsalot? Did you remember when I made the Grambo No Expendable Music video, the opera thing? It was on one of the early Saturday shows. Fucking yeah, fuck, I love it. Everything's going great. So yeah, Eric will be here in a second. We're gonna and I'm not 100% even how to pronounce his podcast. It's the Canna Kuya, I think it is. You'll have to forgive me. I definitely I'm dyslexic. I'm dyslexic at this point. Whew. That is oh oh, it's so good. That is my homegrown emergency. Got a cut of the emergency from Mr. JR Token, and I grew that shit out. And oh my God, it was the frostiest bud I've definitely ever encountered in my whole freaking life. The fan leaves had trichomes. Is absolutely preposterous. And so Hot Rod's Head Stash pressed all of my rosin. Thank you. Yo, there's Eric right there. Get in here, buddy. Come hang out. I sent you the link, email and on Instagram. I look down on it. I got Instagram rolling down here just like in the corner, and I say, well, there's my guest. He's freaking hanging out on Instagram. You don't know we're here, some bitch. And so, yes, Hot Rod's Head Stash took my entire harvest, every single nug. I didn't even weigh it. I have no clue how much it was. He gave me rosin. I didn't weigh it. I don't know anything about it. But definitely super shout out today. Me, Hot Rod's Head Stash, Mrs. Hot Rod, and the two Hot Rod Bambinas, and the little Grambina. We all got together today and we all went to a park. We had a big family affair. We came back. Me and Hot Rod snuck away on the deck, took some dabs, hung out. It's beautiful. His wife's awesome. She's such a gangster. If you guys remember the Dude Grows Cup video where Hot Rod got a little emotional during it, she actually took, what was it, seventh place? Those guys do everything for the cannabis community, and this was a special hangout, not just because we had all of our kids together, because this was the last week of Hot Rod being in Colorado. He's heading back to Florida, where he's originally from. He's got a third baby on the way, and just life is chaos, and Denver can get weird. So he's heading back to get with the fam and introduce his babies to the rest of the fam. So everybody, spam some love into the chat right now. Hot Rod's Head Stash. He's not disappearing. I'm going to make sure he gets on Dude Grows, even if I got to send him a camera. You're still coming on the Monday panel show. I'll get you a camera and a microphone. I don't care if I got to send you gear myself. So everyone spam love to Hot Rod's Head Stash right now. Thank you, Hot Rod, for everything you've done in the community. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure you don't fall off when you get to Florida. I'll make sure you keep going, because this guy is positioned as a real beast. One of my Grambo grub, been getting distracted by just life, So I put out the Grambo Grows videos and the actual proper one, the Night Owl Seeds top 5 strains, and I clipped everything Hot Rod ever told me online about rosin, and I'm going to put it into one full video, and it's gonna be awesome. So that'll be my ode to Hot Rod. Next Grambo Grows video coming out is going to be the Stoners Are Lazy video. Just been thinking about that recently. I can't believe that like we're still in this world where like there's some sort of like bizarre freaking weed makes you lazy stereotype. Like I feel like we've grown past this, right? Like, it's essentially a lot of like the most famous people on earth are freaking stoners. Oh man, did I not send the hold on, let me send another email real quick. Cause yeah, uh-oh. I think dude, I'm effing up today. Started the stream with no freaking audio, and I think I just realized that I sent Eric the link on on Instagram, but he requested that I email it to him, and I think I effed that up. So let me get that going. So yeah, shout out to Hot Rod. It's gonna be freaking awesome. The it's curing up nice. The rosin, it was a little bit shattery when he first gave it to me. He explained all the difference between the cold cure versus the fresh press. The fresh press is a little bit harder and less easy to work with. All right, so hopefully there we go. So the link sent, Eric. If you're listening, I effed up. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I am not a sharp cookie today. So that's what I'm smoking. What are you guys smoking on in the chat? Let me know. This is the late night smoke. How dare you, Jimmy? You know what? Here's the thing. Like, if for some reason that I could get a third party thing, I'm almost certain I could win. I bet I could win. Get the fuck out of here. But not after I start the Laid and Paid podcast, because I'm gonna catch some shit for that. You can't talk about like the truth in America anymore. Like, if you just talk like from the center and you say the truth, people hate you. I always say that you're actually a centrist when everybody hates you. When the left and the right hates you, you're finally there. If anybody likes you online, that's why you'll never hear me talking about politics ever. I went on a date 2 nights ago, and halfway through it, she's just like, "Oh well, I'm all about the politics and the elections coming up." And I was like, I checked the hell out. It was all the way in Boulder. I had to come back, just blah. Yeah, so Grambo don't do politics. I gave it up. But I'm definitely going to throw all my weight into making sure that I can save as many people just like me, because I started out as just I grew up with a single mom. No one told me how to exist in this world. The Josh D.O.G., my man. I smoked some of that pure Michigan. Jaron was growing that. I don't know if it's in his garden currently. Yo, oh shit! Talking loud in the house. Yeah, fucking if you feel like hanging out, Matt, I'll send you the link. Let me know, buddy. No pressure, but if you feel like hanging out, always welcome. ICANN fam and Graham fam. We're gonna have to start collabing more. Me and ICANN. Isn't it weird how few of content creators actually come out of Denver? You think there'd be a lot of the cannabis content creators coming out of Denver, but it's really just like me, Chris, uh, me, the Jug Dealers crew, and the ICANN crew. Sorry, I'm looking in chat. That's my dyslexia. I can't hold two disparate ideas in my head simultaneously. So yeah, yeah. Oh my man. So what's up, guys? We're just waiting for Eric to get in here. What else has been going on? If you got any questions, DGC Cup is coming up. It's going to be one of my most excited freaking moments in my whole life. Can't wait. It's a little bit of a problem though, because like I'm not super stoked. Like not stoked, but I'm not super into flower right now. I'm just loving this dab life. This Colorado concentrate game is absolutely next level. And now it's like starting to get like this Kind Bill live resin, Jug Dealer Gabe grew it. Oh man, it's Gary Payton. I'm usually not a high matter sort of guy. Like usually I'm just a flavor horde and I don't really give a shit. And so it's like one of those things where like when I actually take some dabs, and I was like, I messaged him. I was like, dude, fucking, all right. I guess I saw him before we recorded on Tuesday for the Jug Show. And I was like, dude, I'm never that guy that talks about the high. And this is actually makes me feel good. It's probably why I forgot to turn the audio on and fucking kept jacking everything up. And Eric will tell me if I forgot to email him that. How stupid am I if I forgot to email him? But he is here. So, ladies and gentlemen, no further ado. Like I said, this man, cannabis content creator and stand-up comedian. I was like, oh, it's like the the Ghostbusters, the Keymaster and the Gatekeeper. It's like, oh, we got to get these two together. So, ladies and gentlemen, if it's your first time hearing this man, we're gonna get to the bottom of it. So, joining me, Mr. Eric Esteban. What up, man?
I'm tripping because I've been
I,
watching you for the past I don't even what year and a half. You guys at Dude Grows, and then I watch you at Jug Dealers, and then we've been hanging out, DMing each other and talking about comedy. But
yeah.
I'm I was flabbergasted by, DMing you and being like, let's go live. And I'm like, yo, what? Are you kidding me? Let's go, man. Because trust, man. I mean, from the way that you produce all the podcasts that you do, and it really is. I'm trying to follow your game because it is really cool to. It's just cool to meet you. I mean, even just face to face, and
I
we're just live
appreciate
talking,
it because there's a lot of people that'll give you compliments, but they don't really like it. I appreciate it, but they don't know what they're talking about. Like they don't know, like, oh, you do all this stuff. It's like you actually don't. I do a billion times more, but you don't actually see it. So coming from an actual,
because I follow you, bro. I follow
content
even on
creator.
Instagram. I see how you're animating stuff. I mean, the level of production that you're doing and the level of production that you're bringing to the cannabis content game is something to watch and something to follow. Because I'm doing the same thing. I'm just following you, and bro, I'm not trying to kiss your ass or anything, but it's an honor to be on with you, because I've literally been watching you and Scotty and the dude and all these guys for like years. I mean, you guys have been doing it for decades, so it's a trip to be here on with you, because it's really awesome.
I don't know if you know my story about the Dude Grows show, like how I was a fan and like how all that worked out. Like
that's why it's a trip for me to be on, because I know your exact story, and the fact that you're putting me on and interviewing me right now is just because, I mean, I love comedy. I've been doing comedy since my 20s, and I'll turn 50 this year. But brown don't frown, bro.
Looking good, man. We look the same age. Jesus.
But like, starting to grow cannabis, because I like you had alluded to, because I was watching your live, and you said that I filmed my first comedy special. And you work and you work and you grind to write all this material to have enough to do a comedy special, and then you wait, because it's just editing, and you know what I'm saying? And you're like waiting for them to edit it. You're waiting for the music or whatever else, and you're just waiting. And you can book shows and you can do shows, but it was like, but then I found growing, and I started watching you guys online, and I was like, started growing my own stuff and setting up my tents. And now I'm since January 2024, I've had a harvest every month, because of how like I followed like Scotty's advice on setting up a perpetual grow and all that, like having 2 tents and having a veg tent, and then switching to a floral, switching to flower, and having another tent for flower, and keeping a constant cycle. And it's been running. It's been pretty cool.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's so awesome. And see, so that one of the surprising things that people find out about me is that I did not. So I started comedy in 2017. 10/17/17 was my first set. I always remember. And
17 is a good number.
I didn't edit. Like I started editing in 2019 because I wanted to just edit my own short films. My comedy buddy, like here in Denver, a comedian, Zach Moss, awesome freaking comedian. There's a chance he might come to the DGC Cup. I love this freaking guy. I might try to book him for the cup if we're going to do stand up. And he started doing a thing called the Phone In Film Festival. And so it seemed fair. All you had to do was have a cell phone, and anything else it had to be that, and then it could go out. I was like, oh, that seems fair. I don't have any gear. I'm broke. And so the first year that I went in, I didn't win any place, but then I got the like best visual effects, because I had like a little something. Oh, that's cool. And then I finished like second in the next one, third in the next one, and I should have won the third one. But you know how like clicky comedy is, like
you don't even have to tell me, bro.
Something.
I know how that goes.
So the video that really won was the cool kids being cute.
I mean, that's always it always ends up being. That has been, as far as clicky comedy, that has been my comedy career, being real, because
that's the game,
man.
I
tend to, I'm very, I like you mentioned the Canna Creators podcast. Canna Creators means it's Canna, but Kuya means older brother in Tagalog, in Filipino. So I'm your cannabis older brother. I'm gonna guide you through and teach you how to grow and teach you how to grow your own, but also kind of, guide you through. If you haven't smoked before, then you should smoke with me, because it's going to be a wonderful experience. So that's kind of like the whole vibe of my podcast. So yeah, I'm trying. You and I are in the same space because we're trying to find a creative space where we can kind of utilize all the things that we've been using over the years of comedy and building, you know, our own comedy careers, but then connecting
Right.
it to the plant that we love. It's and I feel like there's such a cool space for it because I talked to my homie Keith Pedro, who's this big Filipino comedy guy in Canada. Because Canada, they've been recreational for a minute, and they have a cannabis comedy circuit where you hit
Oh,
one show and it's like I think they call it like the hot box show where it's like literally there's like joints under their seat and everybody gets in and they just do comedy and everybody just smoking and it's like a smoke box. And then there's another one and another one and another one. But the key to us as comics is you get paid for the show and it's sponsored by the cannabis companies in Canada. So it's a different look. Even in here in LA, it's
damn,
not like that yet. So
damn. Yeah,
that
no,
would
that's
that's
crazy.
kind of the rip I'm looking for. Like next is like going to Toronto, maybe, you know, who knows? But yeah,
Yeah.
the
So
cannabis
people
comedy
don't understand. So
scene is
where I was going with the I didn't start editing until 2019. I didn't do anything until 2020. I just kind of played
uh-huh.
around, and then when lockdown happened and comedy, I didn't stop. I was doing the backyard barbecues and just, you know, gangster comedian style. But, you know, you go from doing, I think I was doing you can do 17. We had 23 open mics a week in Denver, and you could do the most I ever did was 17. So I go from doing 17 sets a week to
Mm.
3, 2, you know, like it's
Yeah, I know.
brutal. And
The
so
pandemic
all of a
really
sudden,
hit comedy hard.
so when people ask, there's like, dude, it's like, how is it that you can like 3D animation and edit and stream and all the shit? And I go, all of that combined, that's how hard stand up is. Stand up takes so much of your life and your raw brain power that literally I can learn 5 different skill sets with the amount of energy. Now that I don't do stand up, oh, there's no stand up to do. Well, then I'll give myself a college education in a year. That's what doing stand up is like. People always will give props to stand ups and they go, oh, it's so hard. And we'll be like, oh, well, I love it and everything. But, you know, man to man, we can tell everyone it's exactly as hard as you think it is. It's
Oh yeah. No,
brutal
you
sometimes.
because it's an obsession. It has to be an obsession. Because if it's not an
Mhm.
obsession, then don't do it. Because
Yeah.
the times like I mean, yesterday I was at the Long Beach Filipino Festival and I was performing live. And those outdoor
Nice.
festivals where you're like with a whole crowd of people, you have to be so confident in your material because even if they are laughing, you can't hear that shit. So it's like you just have to know that they're
Mm,
laughing. You almost have to just look in their
wow.
eyes and know that they're with you. You know, because sometimes you're looking into an old Filipino man who's not going to laugh out loud, but he's there with you with his eyes, and he's smiling with you, and you know he's there, but you're not going to hear his laughter, but you still know that you can just
Nice.
kind of plow through. But comedy is comedy has to be an obsession. And I mean,
Mhm.
literally, like it's an obsession to the point where oh my god, I can discuss cannabis and comedy with Grambo. Yo, I kick my
Mm,
daughters and my wife. I go get the hell out. You can't watch a movie in the living room right now. I got to be. I'm talking with Grambo right now. We gonna talk.
my
We
man.
gonna talk big boy talk. I'm telling you right now. I'm so anyway. But
No,
yeah,
I'm
I
with you,
mean,
dude. Because like, here's the thing. Here's how much I always say stand-up comedy's a cult, and I don't recommend it. You know.
mm-mm.
And so here's how much of a cult it is. You're like, oh, you're doing all this shit, and I go, bro, you're an active fucking comedian. What, you did a fucking festival? What, yesterday or 2 nights ago? Whatever you said. Like, I haven't performed. I went and so I had a bad date 2 weeks ago, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
I go out and I had this bad date. It wasn't a bad date. It was just a fizzle out, go nowhere date, which is bad in my world, you know.
Sure.
Anything that wastes time and effort and all that shit.
Time
Yeah.
is the only
So
luxury we have, man. That's it. You know,
exactly. I walk
and
out of this date and my whole like shit's just like, I feel like shit. And I look over and there's an open mic next door. And I was like, when in Rome, and literally go up in front of like 6 freaking people at 1 in the morning. The jokes that should have worked, you know, out of a dozen jokes, 3 landed, but they were the ones that should have landed, the
there you
ones that
go.
have done time immemorial. I did 30 minutes on the road over 22 2022, me and a Denver comic, PJ Johnson. You'll learn of this guy someday. He's a legit powerhouse. His
You
legal
mentioned
name.
him. I mentioned you. I remember you mentioning PJ Johnson on Dude
Yeah,
Grows because you mentioned his name before.
Papa Junior, PJ, but his full name's Papa Junior Joseph Papa Johnson. That's on his ID. It says Papa
That's
Junior Joseph Papa
awesome.
Johnson. And so he took me out, and I did it was a two man shows. We started in Florida, and we zigzagged all the way across the country until we got to Utah, and then turned back to Denver. And it was 28 cities and 33 nights. It was just
Ah,
epic. I was doing 30 minutes every night. And dude, when I got back to Denver after that, I just made a steal. I couldn't believe how crushing I was. And then to take like what 8 months off. I think I looked at the calendar. I was like, dude, like mics don't really count. My last proper show was 8 months ago. I was like, dude, what the? So for me, I have that with you. It's like, dude, you're an active comedian. Oh, that's so fucking.
But
I'm
bro,
so proud.
so it's a trip that we're talking about this because I was just on a text with my homie in Austin, and she was talking about how, yo, I just got this job and it's gonna give me some money, and I'm not gonna be able to do comedy for a while, and it's kind of a trip, and I'm like, yo, follow that money. Comedy will find you no matter what. You know what I mean? Like comedy will find you because comedy is something that, like you said, it's an obsession. It's gonna be there no matter what. And every time even if it's 8 months, even I try not to do my shows anymore. I try not to do a lot of shows anymore. Almost because like doing my first special and then subsequently like the year following, I went back to Chicago because Chicago's my hometown, and I went back and headlined the Comedy Plex in Chicago. And there's a lot of weird kismet stuff that we could talk about when we're smoking together and face to face. But I headlined in Chicago, and then the production company that filmed my first special like hit me up, and they were like, "Yo, let's film this whole headliner weekend." So I'm like, "Wait, I got to do another hour of new shit."
Yikes.
Okay, cool, let's do it. And then I ended up doing like 2 hours of new shit because I was home and I was walking the streets to my my home. And the only joke that I'll tell is we were walking in Chicago, and I'm a Cubs fan. Don't let the LA hat fool you. I'm a Cubs fan. And we're walking the streets, me and my guys who are featuring for me, and Mitch Narito, who's the co-host of my podcast, Canna Creators, or Canna Creators. He was one of my features, and we were walking the streets, and we saw Sammy Sosa. Remember Sammy Sosa, the home run king, Sammy Sosa. But you remember recently, if you've been on the internet recently and you've seen Sammy Sosa, there was like a time where his complexion was matched yours.
He looks a little different.
He looked a little different, right? And then when we saw him, because there was a bunch of people taking pictures, and Mitch chimed in, he's like, "Who's that important guy over there?" And I looked over, and at first I didn't realize it was Sammy Sosa because he was brown like me. Sammy Sosa was brown again. So my punchline was Trump didn't make America great again, but I came back to Chicago and I made Sammy Sosa brown again, guys. I made Sammy Sosa brown again. But like I walked my streets of Chicago and I ended up writing 10, 15 minutes of new material because of just being home and interacting with people that I hadn't interacted with. And so like comedy will find you no matter what you do. And now let me just say this. I'm a headliner in Chicago, and it's only because my homie Mars, who I came up with at Second City, from the 90s, owns that club. So that's the only reason that I'm headlining. So I almost like to bust the mystique of the working comedian, because we're all out here struggling, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be doing a podcast.
It's no coincidence. I came off that epic road trip. It was amazing. PJ's goal as a headliner was to get a lap dance in all 50 states. So I was with him for 11 through 24. And so literally it was a party. It was amazing. And when I got back, I mean, we made good money. The booker got us hotel rooms all the way across, so we didn't have to pay for our lodging or anything. We both had food stamp cards, so we're making
Mm.
the meat fast, eating at the venue, And with all that savings, I came home like $300 in the hole.
Oh,
I was like,
my
dude,
daughter Marley wants to say hi to you, Grambo.
oh, what a baby girl!
This
I
is
just
my
put my
daughter
old girl to
Marley.
bed.
If you didn't know that I like cannabis, my daughter's named Marley.
Marley, what up, Marley? You got a cool name. You got a cool dad. Shout
Thank
out.
you.
That's awesome. Because this is today Hot Rod's head stash. He and I hung out. He's got 2 daughters, and I have a daughter, so we all met at the park today
We're
and
girl
all hung
dads,
out.
bro.
So it's daddy daughter day.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
There's something. Does weed like make your like? I feel like all the stoners I know have daughters. It's like a weird thing. Like, does weed
You know
make
what it is,
the
man?
X chromosome
I'll
go
even flip
dormant?
it a little bit. What I'll say, all the good men that I know have daughters
Mm.
because
Yeah,
whatever
it's
you
weird.
believe
The
in,
universe
but
doesn't
like
want. Yeah,
the universe doesn't
I
want to
wanted a
put
son.
if but you know what I'm saying? The universe is not going to put, for the most part, because you want strong women, you want good women out in the world. So if you don't give them a good dad, it's harder for them. So if you got a good man as a dad, and most of the girl dads that I know are really good men. So, and I'm meeting another one today, so it's all good.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
respect to you, my friend. I know that life. Anybody that doesn't have kids, it's one of those things. It's like I always equate having kids to like tripping, where it's like you can like think you know what it is, but until you do it, you don't know what it is.
Mm-mm.
It's the best thing ever. I spent my whole
It,
life avoiding having a kid, and then now I was like, oh, I'm born to be a dad. What the hell?
well, I mean, for me, funny, kind of a little. When my first daughter was born, Malia, um, I was not, steady on Instagram posting dad pictures and stuff, and I grew up in the '90s, and I idolized comedians in the '90s, Eddie Murphy, In Living Color, all those cats, right? And
Oh yeah.
I put on hashtag Cosby Dad on every one of my pictures when I posted with my baby. And then all that stuff came out about Cosby like a year afterwards. So I had to go back and
Oh
all of my
no.
pictures. I'm like, oh my God, I've got Cosby Dad on my, it's, yeah. So, but no,
Jesus.
there's nothing like being a dad, man. And you wanted to be I mean, all nasty stuff aside, when you watch the Cosby Show, that was the dad that we all wanted to have, right? He was America's dad for the late
Right.
'90s, right? Unfortunately, he did what he
Yeah.
did, but yeah. So
Yeah, no, it's one of those things. So yeah, so when did you guys start these? Forget because I made this so when I started doing comedy, right? One of the reasons that I took a real liking to film and animation and all this stuff is I just speak the language. I had a TV and film addiction till like I was raised by a TV.
latchkey
Scotty
kid.
calls me the cable guy because he'll be like, "Oh, you ever seen this?" I go, "Oh yeah, it's directed by this guy,
Yeah,
starring this
of
guy,
course, yeah.
who's actually the brother of the key grip on Titanic, James Cameron's fourth movie." Oh, big, it's like, how do you know
You're the
that? Because
IMDb. You're
I
the
had a problem.
IMDb of the friend group, right?
So I made a commitment to myself. I said no one else's art until my art has a foothold. And so I stopped watching movies, stopped watching sports, stopped watching TV. And so I don't consume anything but tutorials on how to operate software, self-development, business, and then sometimes I'll watch people play video games so I can not explode, So I don't consume like anything. So forgive, I always feel bad when I haven't watched people's stuff yet, but yeah, explain to everyone who hasn't heard yet. What's the podcast like?
Oh, Canna Creators. Well, I mean, it really is just so okay. I don't know if you guys know this Harry Aslinger quote. He was the guy he was in Congress. He was one of the assistant directors or some shit where he was like a
Yeah,
dude.
Harry S.
I have it
Anslinger.
on my phone. I could read the title for you, but he was like one of the official governmental directors, and he quoted, okay. And I'm a Filipino American, proud, but he quoted his quote to Congress was Negroes, Hispanics, Filipinos and entertainers use marijuana to lure white women away from their husbands in Congress. This was literally I'm paraphrasing, but that was the quote for Congress. And when I read that, because I study Filipino American history, and I'm like, you don't in 1937, you don't really get Filipinos don't get much mention. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
you don't get much, and I'm like, how the hell? And then so I started
How did we
looking
get included in that?
right. And so then I started looking into it, and it was California, and all of these manongs, they were the older Filipino, the Filipinos that migrated here were for farmers. They were all farmers, and they basically migrated to the Green Triangle in the 30s and 40s. And so when you tell me that, like, and then it was all and you know how like cannabis and marijuana, I learned this, that marijuana was actually a name for Mexican tobacco, and they used it to associate cannabis with Mexicans so that they could scare it was all fear and scare tactics and propaganda. But at the end of the day, when I found out that we were specifically mentioned, it started, I was intrigued. So I'm like, well, how much like did we grow? Were we were some of the people that grew, like were those cigarettes of those pictures of the manongs with the zoot suits that I was watching it from the 30s and 40s? Some of those cigarettes were those joints. So I started thinking about it, and then I started talking about it to my friend Mitch, and then we're like, we should, and everybody got a podcast, so we're like, yo, we should talk about this because there's no Filipinos talking about cannabis. Everybody's scared of it still. Our whole, and I'm like, Mitch and I have a conversation on our podcast about how every Filipino guest we ask if they've told their parents yet if they smoke weed. Because I've told my parents all the way through. My mom takes edibles now. My dad won't do it because he's scared he'll start smoking cigarettes again because he had an oral fixation. But Mitch hasn't told, his whole family doesn't know. So I'm like, bro, you're doing a podcast, but he's like, yeah, I know, but they don't listen to podcasts, so it's cool. But yeah. So it's a trip, but at the same time, there's that whole thing with our within our Filipino American culture. So I kind of want to break the stigmas, destigmatize all of that stuff within our culture, but then also have like Filipino rappers on, Filipino comedians on, all their other people on. Like I want to, I've been in your DMs asking you to come on to the show and talk grow with us and obviously talk comedy with us. So, but at the same time, man, that was what it was for, to kind of just build a community and bring the community together and at the same time, kind of like, put a Filipino American face to it. So, because representation matters. That's kind of a thing with me. So yeah, so that was why I started the podcast, and we were in Long Beach last night, and all the day last night, and all the day through the day yesterday, and it was a trip because you had some people walk into the booth and they were like, Filipinos are doing a podcast about comedy and cannabis, and they're like, yo, let me buy your t-shirt, let me buy your hat, la la la. And then you had other people who were like, oh, you're Filipinos who do cannabis, okay, and then they walk away. It was a trip. The dichotomy of responses to even just the t-shirts and what we were talking about. It was fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, man, that's fucking. See, I always think, here,
I wish I could smoke. My wife won't allow me to smoke in the house. I always got to smoke in the garden, which is outside. But like I have like an indoor patio, but my wife won't allow me to smoke inside.
There's always divorce, my friend. There's always divorce.
No. I can't do that. I love my wife and I love my kids too much. And that's cool. I'm cool to step outside.
Yes,
but
so did I. Where'd that get me?
Huh?
I love my wife. Didn't get me anywhere.
Oh.
I love my wife. Didn't get me anywhere.
Well,
still end up divorced.
Well, I see, and I look. So we hang out, dads and moms for the play dates and stuff. And I remember one time I went with my wife to a play date. I didn't have a show or whatever, so I went with them to a play date, and it was two dads who they were divorced dads, and like I didn't want to, I'm not gonna like call them out or anything, but I told my wife, I was like, when one of them went to the bathroom and the other one went to go talk to his kid, I was like, please don't ever leave me. Please don't ever leave me. Because I mean,
I can confirm that other than just getting laid with strange girls, there's no upside. But for me,
Mm.
it's a giant upside. So, at least I got a
Yeah.
consolation prize.
Well, I mean, and you have a lot of free time, which is good. But and for me, at least you get to see your daughter, which is also good. So,
Yes, no, that's we had a great divorce. I walked in without a lawyer. She had moved here with me to become growers. People that didn't know my story when I first started working with drug dealers, like they're all OGs, like go back, they all know each other for 20 years, and now I'm the new guy. And like I'm got my blazer on, I look full narkish, and I was like, oh, just so you guys know, I've been fucking I've been dealing since I was 13. When I moved to Colorado, I had 299 plant count, like medical things, and we ran a 19 lighter in my house.
when you were
So
19, so
we
you've
had
been growing
19.
for
No,
so long. You've been growing for
I
a
was
long
30
time, man.
some. We had 19 lights in a single
God,
house. And so it was we had flip boxes. So the 9 would run for 12 hours, noon to midnight, and then it would flip, and the B room would run midnight to noon, and then it flipped. So all the ballasts would just run 24 hours a day. And we had just our legal limit. The legal limit you could have is 2 people with their med cards could get a 99 plant count, because 100 plants is a felony. So you could get a 99. And so I
99,
have my
yeah.
99, she'd have her 99, and the weed would mysteriously disappear and the bills would all get paid. I don't know how it worked, but it was a
Wow,
great
allegedly,
situation. And so,
allegedly.
yes, allegedly. And so when I got out of that, it's just one of those things. I'm one of these guys that like my whole life, the plant has like provided for me, and like always just like got me everywhere I need to go. And then at my darkest moment, when like everything's over and I'm penniless and divorced and like, what am I going to do? I have a lot of skills, but what's that going to get me? And then freaking weed swoops in, dusts me off, sends me out. I have the best life ever now. And it's just like, dude, cannabis culture, like people always like are shocked at how much I am like involved in all these different things. It's like, dude, it's literally my whole life. It's my whole life. I
Because
live
it can be,
this plant.
man.
Yeah.
It can be.
There's
What did it say? Who is it? Biz Met the guys who run the convention in Vegas.
the BizCon.
BizCon, thank you. But BizCon,
Yeah.
they projected what, $36 billion globally?
Yeah,
You know what I
something like
mean?
that.
I feel like, our little podcast can get a few percentage points of 36 billion. I don't need all of that. I just need a little bit of that, and but not even just that, but the whole community, like the whole grow community, the things that I've been watching from you for years. And then when you throw comedy into the mix and you look at like the longevity of Cheech and Chong, or like the
Right.
staying power of some of these movies that, these really well written, really funny pot movies like Friday, or we were talking about it on the podcast, like all these. But if I could be a part of one of those, in my life,
Right.
I'd be complete, like just to be part of the creative cannabis culture. Be the Filipino Cheech and Chong, with me and my homie Mitch. That would, oh my
Yeah.
God, that's kind of the
That's
goal,
I think back to this story about like the gay community, like in the late 90s, they're not getting any respect. There's all like the AIDS hysteria. There's like all like the whole law thing was just at a stalemate. And as we've dissected and done like a post-mortem on society, there's a lot of LGBT historians that really, really, really credit the show Will and Grace for introducing gay people into their household and showing them what it is. Here's what it is. And it's not scary. It's not weird. It's just kind of what I'm doing. And I always think of that in this space, that like no matter what background we're from, we all have this shared thing as growers and tokers and people that, most of the time when you scratch anybody in this chat, I bet you I could ask the reason they're here. They probably have some medical thing, whether it's brain, anxiety, gut, bones, nerves, whatever it is. JR Token missing his leg, has all his nerve damage. He just takes preposterous doses of cannabis because he can't do the opioids anymore and all that crap. And so it's a
The
beautiful
only thing
thing.
that I say, it makes my brain move right. That's, I
Right.
smoke all throughout the day, and it makes my brain move right. I can focus. I was diagnosed ADD when I was a kid, never took any meds when I was a kid. But then when I found pot, like it almost like made me figure out everything. I almost coincidentally started doing comedy a few years later and being an actor and all this other stuff. So like it found my creativity for me in a lot of ways, you know. So and I
And then
followed it.
using your skills you've cultivated, like you now are in the position. I always feel that with myself. I'm going to do this podcast about self-development and like dating and business because I did it and I want to like teach everybody and show them the way.
Because there's
It's
going to
like,
be
oh,
a
you can
cat that's
actually do these
listening to
things.
it, that's in the spot that you were in a couple of years ago, in that bad spot, and listening to your voice while they're doing their grow or doing whatever they're doing is going to get them through what they were. Because I listened to podcasts in that same way when I was in bad spots. So I know, because
Right.
we have there's a lot of lonely people on the internet. You know, there's a lot of people just looking at their screens. So sometimes the podcast is the conversations that they have during the day. So, you know, the idea that you want to uplift them and give them the knowledge that they need to maybe get them out of whatever bad situation they're in. I
Well,
mean,
but then it's
what else is
also
better?
the realization of like, you look at it and you go, well, no one's out there preaching this. And then I go, oh, because it's on me, isn't it? I have the ability. I know how to operate the cameras, edit. I'm good on the camera. It's like, oh, it's me, right? Oh man, God damn it, universe. I wanted to be lazy,
Yo,
but now I
so
got to go try to help humanity.
and this is kind of, I'm kind of lining this up. Like, so I when I first stepped into Second City, I looked at like the pictures on the wall, like Bill Murray and Chris Farley and all these legends, right? Tim Meadows, just all these different comedic legends.
Tim's a legend.
And you just hope, you know, you're this young kid looking at the wall and you're, man, one day, right? Fast forward to my last headlining weekend at the Comedy Plex. And you're like, Eric, you got to sign your poster so we can put it and frame it and put it on the wall. And man, I'll
That's
tell you,
huge, dude.
I like, but at the same time, like it kind of, it said to me, like just in myself, it was like, okay, I'm not trying to look for a part-time job. I'm
Right.
not, you know what I'm saying? Because like I had, when the job that funded my grow, we'll say, because I like worked part-time at this Beverly Hills condo overnight, and I was a doorman, you know, just, you know,
Okay.
basically the security night guard, basically. And it was an awful job, bro, because you've never met more entitled people than the rich people of Beverly Hills. You know what I'm saying? And if there was
Yikes.
something wrong, like this one old man walked up with his like cane, like his walker, and he was like, "There's someone who clogged the recycling bin. I'm wondering if maybe you can crawl down into the garbage chute and read the Amazon label so that I can report the tenant." And I'm like, "Bitch, I get $20 an hour. You think you gave me this suit to sit at this desk. I ain't climbing in no goddamn garbage suit, shoot in the suit."
Jesus.
Yeah, like it was an awful job. You know what I'm saying? Like terrible job. And so, but it funded my grow. Like I bought all the tents and I bought all the lights and the genetics
Fuck
and,
yeah.
all that stuff. So it, for nothing else, it was able to give me that. But then when I lost that job, I got laid off. I was like, I'm a headliner in Chicago. I book regularly here in Los Angeles. Sometimes I can do shows in New York. I'm about to do shows in Virginia and San Diego. You know what? Fuck this. I don't need a job. And so I ended up naming my second special Unemployable, because I am. I smoke weed every day. I grow my own weed in my house. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I come high to the job interview because this is what you get. I'm going to be high, you know? So,
Yeah.
if you want my brain to move right at this job, you better let me smoke weed at least before the shift. So, so I'm unemployable. So
Yeah.
I'm a stand-up comedian, and it kind of like, yo, this is it. This is what you got to do. And also turning 50, I'm like, nah, fuck this. I'm done. I'm not trying to work for any kind of hourly rate. I'm not trying to work for anybody else. I have an LLC with my own production company. I produced a bunch of stuff. I'm producing stuff with the production company that produced my special. Forget that shit. I'm on this journey, and if I fail, I fail. If I don't, let's go. You know, that's
I'm
kind
with
of
you,
where I'm at.
man. After my divorce, I was building my company, my production company that I saw someday in the future, and then I got all put to shit. And I sat there, and it's like, well, do I get a job? And it's like, no, no. Like it's the Matrix. I'm just gonna jump. Fuck it, man. Like I
Yeah,
believe it'll catch me. I just believe it'll catch me. Like
it's
I'm
the
just gonna
Matrix,
go.
bro. It's the
Like I'm
Matrix. We took the red
yeah.
pill.
Famously, I will because I'm over. I always say I can't tell all my stories on Dude Grows. Like in 2021, I was so for like I don't even remember what summer. They all blur in together now. May 22. There was a woman who I was not attracted to at all that I would take home weekly because she'd buy me dinner and like it literally she'd buy pizza and then I'd be like, baby, can I get a Pepsi too? And I'm like sugar babying this fucking woman who I hated, did not like her, didn't like it's horrible, but that's how fucking broke I was, and I wasn't willing, you know.
Hey,
No, I'm not getting a job, man. I can't do it. And now that it worked and I can actually feed myself, I look like a genius. But yeah, you take risks,
no,
man.
but
It's a gamble.
you no, who said it? I think it was Busta Rhymes. There's a quote that I posted on Instagram about it. You have to be delusional. You have to be
Mhm.
delusional. You have to be delusional
Yeah.
because until you're delusional until that shit works. Because then once
I
it
had a
works, everybody's like,
real
"Oh my god, that dude was a genius." But
for me,
until
I
that
grew
time,
up
you
in
have to
the
delusionally believe it's going to happen.
right. Yes, yes. No, I grew up in the band Slipknot's hometown, so I was like a metal kid watching these guys ascend. And so I got the great thing of there's a story about them. They put out their demo called Mate Feed Kill Repeat. And so in 1996, they were all pizza drivers and guitar teachers and just schmucks. And they saved up 20 grand in 1997 dollars, and they put that towards their demo. They paid real producers and real people, and I watched them and I go, they didn't get lucky. They called their shot. They put in the work and they put the money where their mouth is, and now they're arguably the biggest metal band. And so that had a big effect on me where I was
And
like,
they've
dude,
had
don't tell me
longevity,
you
man.
can't
They've
do it
stayed for a
because you
long
can
time.
do it. Oh man, the
But you're
fact
from
that
Iowa, right?
Ozfest, yeah, Des
You
Moines,
grew up in
where
Iowa
they're
because
from.
my
I knew
wife grew up in
my
Iowa.
bass player. Oh yeah, we're from.
Um, Stanwood, which is right outside of
All
Cedar
right.
Rapids.
Okay. Well then,
400 people
see,
in her town. But yeah,
yeah,
Iowa.
yes. No, it
No,
was
but I
it was
interrupted you. That you're the bassist in it was
well,
what? Your
so
bassist.
my bass player was Corey Taylor's brother-in-law. It's like his sister was Corey's like baby mama. And so it was all like mixed up in that world. And I was primed to be a musician.
Well,
And
you
yeah,
play
dude, it
guitar.
was crazy.
According to Scotty, I haven't heard it, but I hear you play a fierce guitar, bro.
There was a time where I could probably for sure say I was top 1% in America. I was good. We were good. And
That's
all we did was
awesome.
drink and fight. Yeah, I mean, so I started playing when I was 12, and I would essentially play 8 hours to 10 hours a day, 7 days a week for like 16 years. And so, how do you get good? Well, I'll just throw my life at it. That's the secret. And so,
I
yeah,
think
that
it's
was so yeah.
like you said, that's probably what you do with everything, pretty much. It sounds like from hearing
Yeah,
a
no,
lot of the stories that I don't hear on Dude Grows, like about your life. It sounds like you just kind of jump into everything that you do, from the 19 lights that you
yeah.
had and all that stuff, man. That's pretty. It's pretty awesome to get to know you, man.
I always say that I might be one of the laziest people on earth. So if I'm going to take one step, I better be goddamn sure that I'm going to take all 1 million steps. I'm not going to take the first one if I'm not going to take all of them. Too lazy. Why bother?
Look, man, I am the international man of leisure. That is the title that I've held since college, and I'm trying to stay leisure, man. That's the life. You know what I mean?
You know what? Interesting thing. So you talked about like uh, from Chicago, and you got these roots in Second City. For people that don't know, Second City is like the most famous improv. Maybe there's some LA stuff. The UCB
Yeah,
guys and
Groundlings,
everything. Like
which I was a part of the
yeah,
Groundlings
like
here in
so maybe they're not
LA,
the
and
most famous, but to me, as a like my I lived in Evanston for a summer. My wife was from Chicago, so like I spent a
okay.
lot of time there. And so during that summer, before if you would ask me when I was 4 years old what I wanted to be, I would have said a stand-up comedian. I go that far OG. When I saw Def Comedy Jam, I didn't know what the fuck these black guys were saying, but I knew I loved it. I just wanted
I
it.
wanted to
I
do
had
that.
no clue.
Yeah.
Yes. And so yeah, as I grew up and fucking I was there. I was going to Second City all the time to see the shows. And so before I ever did comedy, my first ever like breakout laugh was at a Saturday show, the late show on Saturday, sold out at Second City. I was just an audience member, and I could see like they were doing audience interaction, and like they'd ask a thing and they dunk on him, and they'd get a big laugh. And I saw like the order of the spotlights, like that guy, then that guy, that guy. I was like, oh, dude, I'm probably next. I was like, oh, no, 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 I'm not getting dunked on. So I knew what he was going to ask me, and I came up with a thing. And he puts the mic in front of my face, and I was just like, magnet, the whole room explodes in laughter. And that was the first time I got the heroin.
Because it felt that
oh,
I mean,
that
I
was the
love
best feeling
cannabis,
I've
man.
ever. I was
Don't get me
gone.
wrong. I love cannabis, but there's never been a cannabis that I have. There's never been any cannabis that I have smoked that has made me feel that high for a laugh. And that first laugh, oh, yo, that is like your, I'm gonna get nasty. That's like your first. That's like your first nut. That's like your first. When you have sex,
yeah, for sure.
and yeah. I mean, for real, it is the
Yeah.
best feeling in life when you get that first laugh, like that first real big laugh from a crowd. And you can actually do that shit. Oh my God, it's the best.
And it's the sweet and sour. I always tell a story. I hosted an open mic in Denver for like a couple of years at this shady Federal Boulevard bar. Federal's like the more ghetto part of and I was in the ghettoest part of the city. Just this white boy. My co-host was this Mexican dude that was born in Denver, Luis Jesse Ricardo Martinez. The crack king of Denver comedy. He openly smokes crack. Says smoking crack is cocaine dabs. It's just cocaine dabs. It's like he's
Okay.
nuts. And so I hosted this open mic with him. And so my mom had cancer. She's like passing away. She's in the ward on Mother's Day, which is on a Sunday, which is the day I host the open mic. And so I spend the day with her. It's like, all right, Mom, I got to go do comedy. Like, have a good night. I spent the whole day with her. It's all good. But I go to my open mic and I'm opening the show, and we open the show together, and then I'll do a set, and then he'll do one a little bit later. So for my opening set, like I'm like, guys, my mom's sick. She's in the whatever I said. And I was like, but I'm here tonight with you guys. I'm so stoked. And I do my first joke, and this lady in the back just screams out, "Stop! You're not funny." And I was just like, oh my God. And I signed off that night. I go, ladies and gentlemen, the comedy car runs on pain and my gas tank is full. My name's Josh Grambo. Comedy runs on pain and my gas tank is full. My name's Josh Grambo. I want to get the fuck out of here.
Bro, I'll tell you, because the times that you bomb are the times that you learn the most. I mean, for real, like I remember, of course, the filming of my special. It was a very special performance, probably one of the best performances of my life. Other than that, a performance is a performance. You know what I'm saying? Like it, but at the same time, all the ones where I bombed or I didn't get the laughs that I wanted to hear, I remember that shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, I didn't say the punchline and set it up properly, or I didn't give enough setup for the punchline, or I didn't do this, or I didn't do that. But at the same time, it's again how you learn. Because I don't really, I'll write like, how do you write jokes? Like I write jokes in a notes where I like remember stuff that I think is funny, like when I'm working on my grow, or like during the day, or if I listen to a podcast or whatever it is, and then I'll write notes, but then I'll kind of leave it alone. And then I don't even look at the notes for when I go on stage. I'll just hopefully remember the notes from just memory, because I kind of have like a weird thing with because I've worked with scripts my whole life. So once I write it down like physically, I kind of retain it almost. And so
when you see my notebooks, it looks like fucking all work and no play.
I look like
John Boy. I'll
like
just write my set list over and over and over and over and over. Yeah. Pages and pages of 10 words that represent 10 chunks.
Yeah. It's just, you just need those beats in your head that you just kind of, okay, I know I'm going to go from here to here to here. And then the transitions are going to be however the crowd kind of feels it. Right. And so for me, I can never really finalize a joke or finalize a punchline or finalize anything until I do it in front of a crowd. So that's why, like when you were talking about like the pandemic and how you went from hundreds of open mics or whatever, however many bunch of open mics to like, a few open mics, it was so hard. But at the same time, the pandemic almost taught me how to not need open mics to write,
Yeah.
where you,
Well,
and almost like to
it will show
trust
to be
your
the best
own.
thing that ever happened to me. The
Yeah.
lockdown was great. I needed that time to educate myself.
Also stimulus money.
Well, that did, funnily enough, so I had a harvest, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I had like my own little 6 light grow that I had at my house. And so I
Oh,
had a harvest and my friends needed, so the same week as my harvest got taken away was the same week that my Trump check showed up. And that was the decision. I had the money to buy a $5,000 editing station with badass GPUs and the whole nine, and I could do 3D animation. And I was like sitting there with all this money, the most money I'd ever had, like in the last few years. And I was like, am I serious? Like I should just go. And I went and slapped that. It was $4,800 for my first editing PC, and frickin' I never looked back, man. So yeah, that
and all
stimulus
I
money,
did
no
was
joke,
waste
it
it on
started
on
my
on
career.
streetwear and sneakers. I literally wasted all out on, but then I wore all the clothes for all the stimulus clothes. I alluded to it for like the first year when we started doing a lot. I was like, "Yo, I bought this. This is my stimulus outfit." Because
Mhm.
yeah, because that was so much fun. That was the fun part. Spending because, like you said, because when we're comics, you don't get those big chunks of money all the time, but when you do, it's fun and you can
Oh
level up a
yeah.
little bit, you know? So yeah, we
Yeah.
both get a little opportunity to level up.
So when I did my whole life of growing, I had grown in grow rooms, several lights,
Mhm.
6 lights was like the least I ever grew in my whole life. So then the divorce happens, no more growing. I'm looking, it's like, I don't know if I'm ever going to grow again. I hook up with all the crew and everything. AC Infinity sends me a freaking tent. Thank you, AC Infinity.
Oh
Appreciate that.
man.
And so, yeah, I end up, now I'm growing for the first time ever in a tent, a four by two tent. And I'm finding it's amazing. I hear I'm worried about growing. It's one of the things that's like ignorance is just the worst thing in every capacity, including growing weed. I assumed that growing weed in a tent I'm gonna get PM. How am I gonna control humidity? Turns out it's easy as hell. And so yeah, I grow in cocoa, just doing it the way I always did. How do you grow? What's your situation?
I'm soil. I grow in soil, pro mix, and then because I learned from because I watched the Green Table, and one of the guys there said he when I set up my because I reuse my pots. I use 7 gallon pots, fabric pots, and then I have Fox Farm on the foundation, and then Pro Mix with a mix of Gaia Green, and I do Earth Shine from Green Grow. But then, like we were talking about in the DMs, it's kind of a synganic approach where I'll hit them with nutrients from Ventana Plant Science every third water, like almost like multivitamins. You know what I'm saying? And then
Mhm.
but then I do recharge. Recharge is, I mean, because I mean that's like it's amazing. And I'm not trying to plug you guys. I'm not trying to again, I'm
No,
not trying to kiss your
you
ass,
always
but
say
that shit works so
the
good. It's
problem with
so good.
recharge is that it works, and so you just sound like a whore for the brand. But it's like, well, I actually use it, man. I haven't PH'd in 5 years.
It
I don't
works.
know.
I mean, shit, it works on the strawberries. It works on the peach tree outside. I mean, it works on everything. It really is an incredible gardening product, and it's
Hell
cool
yeah.
because it kind of like made me to like I wrote Teaming with Microbes by Jeff Lowenfeld and
Jeff
like
Lowenfield.
all these different things where because like you, I obsess about it. And once I started realizing that I had the power to grow my own cannabis, I was in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was
So
really
this
one
is
of those
the
things.
interesting thing that's like, because I never knew, like, because I've only done comedy. Like, I started comedy in Denver, which
Mhm.
is a cannabis utopia, right? So, like,
Sure, yeah.
obviously, and then you're out in the West Coast, so it's probably a similar vibe out there. But it makes me think about cannabis and comedy. It's like, now that I think about it, it's like I might know out of the hundreds of comedians that I know, I only know about like five that don't smoke weed. It seems like being a comedian and smoking weed, Is that just Denver, or is that like a thing that goes hand in hand?
I mean, they call our hangout room in the back the green room, right? So maybe it might be that might be why. No,
That's
I mean,
hilarious.
maybe in the 80s it was the white room, but now it's the green room.
Now it's those
No, but
goddamn jazz musicians with their fucking marijuana cigarettes.
no, but I mean, I we talk about it a lot on our podcast about how cannabis helps with creativity. Because I'm not if I'm in my best creative space, I got some, incense burning in my grow, and I'm, doing some clipping, and have a little hip hop playing in the headphones, and maybe I got a joint, and then maybe one of Kendrick Lamar's lines inspires me to write a joke, or whatever it is, or the some experience that I have in the grow. And I had like 15 minutes worth of cannabis stuff in my, when I was at the headliner in Chicago, the past performance where I had like an hour, I'd probably like 15-20 minutes on cannabis, because my first grow was I tried to do an outdoor clone growing, because I'm in Cali. So I was like, oh, I'll just grow this. I was kind of like such a newbie. So I'm just like, let me just put this clone I buy in the pot, and I'm going to grow it outside. And little did I know, I can't grow outside in Burbank in California, because there's specific rules. You can only grow indoors. And so, but I was growing it outdoors, stupid me. And my pit bull, who's laying down right here, on 420, no less, chewed that plant. I was growing it for about a month, and it was, starting to grow out and veg out, and I was training it and all this shit. I talked about how I felt like Mr. Miyagi, and trying to train it and do like bonsai shit on it. And I walked out of the house, onto the porch on 420, and my pit bull was like right by the plant with a fucking leaf sticking out her mouth, and it had been chewed down to like a stick. She had chewed that plant, she had ate it, and she was so high, she was shaking. She had like it was funny, but it was also like, oh my God. And then, like, I've been saying I'm Filipino, and I've never really wanted to eat a dog until that moment. Almost made that bitch an
It's
edible.
infused.
I almost
Yeah.
made that bitch an edible that day.
I
But
always love Big J Oker said always does a game on the bonfire where they do they'll pause right on the setup of a joke, and they'll all try to guess the punchline, because we're all in that same like mindset where it's like can I get there, can I beat you?
yeah, but like, I'm trying to, but at the same time, I'm like, oh my God, I'm taking these experiences of growing, and I'm finding stories that I can tell on stage and make people laugh, but also almost, I hate the word branding, and I hate content and all that shit, because I'm a stand-up comedian and improviser from Chicago from the late 90s. You know what I'm saying? I'm 50 years old. I'm a comedian. You know what I mean? This is my art.
Right.
So like, I'm trying to make it connect cannabis to comedy, and I've been trying to do it for years. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been trying to do, I had a rolling papers company for a long time called Jutes, because I found out that when you go to the Philippines and you want to get cannabis, you go, yo, meron jutes ka ba? You have jutes, jutes, you have jutes. And then whoever is the cannabis dealer, you don't have to say it, and in the Philippines now, you don't want to say it too loud, because you better have a connect in the Philippines. You're not trying to yell jutes in the air, but because
Hey,
it's still,
pendejos.
I mean, if you're hip to most of the international news, you know that drugs in the Philippines isn't a good thing. And that's part of why in Filipino American culture, it's still taboo. So we're still in that kind of taboo space, and I kind of like it. I'm kind of excited about connecting myself to this taboo space, because I kind of want to be that, you want to be
Where there's a
dangerous.
problem, there's an
All
opportunity,
the
man.
great comedians were dangerous. All of them were, like even Lenny Bruce. They would, he'd give the finger to the press, and then they'd go arrest him. Like all the greats were, they were George Carlin. I mean, those are the things that I want. Those are the lines I want to walk. Not to say that I want to ever compare myself to the greats or Carlin, but you follow the greats to hopefully one day
No.
maybe not reach as high as they were, but
when all the people always say like, oh, it must be hard comedy, like the cancel culture and everyone's so sensitive and everything. I think Ari Shafir had the best take on it ever. He goes, comedy's dangerous again. I love it. Like
Yeah.
you gotta earn that. If you're gonna do a fucking
Yeah.
rape a baby joke, it better be fire.
Yo, can I tell you a road joke that tripped me out after I had it? And another reason why I could solidified myself. I'm like, nah, I'm a stand-up comedian. This is what I do. Okay, because you've heard you've heard Chappelle's stuff, right? You watch Chappelle, of course, right?
Of course.
So you know that he's having controversy with the trans community and all that, right? And I told this joke about how, because the first time I ever smoked weed was with this gay dude. And I thought, for a minute, like I was, I'd never had an interaction with a gay dude before, this guy. And I thought he was trying to seduce me by smoking weed with me. But I really wanted to smoke weed because I like wanted to, because I love Snoop Dogg and I was really into like the hip hop culture. I never had a chance to smoke weed, and this was the first time it was in front of me, and it was a gay dude who was offering me. I wanted to smoke with Snoop Dogg, and it was this gay dude offering me. But then I just smoked with him, and we were cool, and nothing happened, and it was just a cool time, and I got to know him. His name was Manny. He's a cool dude, right? And nothing, it wasn't a thing. I came back the next day, got a pound from him, and sucked his dick. But what? No, that was nothing. It's just weed. But really, now, so I told that joke, but then I was at the airport going home to LA, and there was a trans lady sitting next to me, and I was like, "Can I ask you something? Would you find this offensive?" And then I told her that joke. And she was like,
Right.
"Oh my God, that's hilarious. La la la." Oh, and then you told them that you sucked a dick for a pound? That's hilarious. Oh, hilarious. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is so cool." I almost feel like Dave Chappelle right now because I'm having a cool conversation with a transvestite about a joke that I told about a transvestite. And it's like, and I'm like, wow. But yeah, again, I'm like, you have to be
that's
dangerous.
the thing. When you actually
have to talk about stuff
when you
like
interact with these communities, you actually find out that like they're like it's the woke white people that are saying this shit. Like
it's
I
the
would always give
internet.
all the woke comedian shit. So like all in Colorado Springs, it's a huge black scene, and I love those guys. I go down there any chance I get to hang out with them. So a lot of I went out with PJ, a black guy, took me out on the road for 2 months, like,
Yeah.
and so I'd always like give the white liberal comedian shit. It's like, hey, liberal kids, you know who I never see you guys with? Any of the minority comedians. It's weird. Like, why are you guys yap, yet you're all over there with your white friends, drinking wine.
That
The fuck out of
part,
my face.
homie. Here's what I'm going to say. I don't know if you saw, but today on Instagram, Redman posted that he is starting a new cannabis political party. Redman from, Redman and Method Man.
Oh, of course.
And I just followed it because I've been politically minded for a long time, but this shit is, I don't even know what to say about it anymore. Like, so I'm intrigued. I'm like, I'm gonna go see what Redman's about. Maybe I'll follow Redman.
I'm working on a video right now
it
about
was a trip because it was talking about being politically active within cannabis. Because I mean, with this whole descheduling thing, I think we kind of almost have to start getting in that space so that we can make sure that, for me especially, I'm just worried about our right to grow, just in case. You know what I mean? I just want to be able to grow my own. Don't fuck with my plants. I won't make a loud noise, but if you fuck with my plants, I'm gonna be mad.
I'm working on a video right now that's about like stoners and laziness, so I went and found a bunch of clips of successful stoners, and like one of the guys that like just I don't know gets enough real love in this world is Seth Rogen. Like this dude, like I saw there's a podcast I love called Diary of a CEO. It's like this amazing podcast. I recommend it to everyone. And he was on it, and the dude always asks the greatest questions. And so he starts digging in with Seth Rogen about weed, and he's like, oh yeah, I smoke weed every day. Every day. I wouldn't be who I am without weed. And just hearing this, like he's one of the most powerful people in Hollywood right now. He just made that new Ninja Turtles movie. Like, he just said he wanted to make a Ninja Turtles movie, and they gave him $100 million. He's powerful. And yeah, stoner, Joe Rogan, biggest stoner like out there, like it's amazing. Like all we need is the first stone to be thrown, and if he's doing that, I'll support that shit. All
Well, I
it's
mean,
that
look what
Will and
Seth's
Grace thing
doing,
all
man.
over
He's a
again.
genius. He's got that what is it called? All the ceramics that he does. There's like a hobby where he sells those, like they're like $300 ashtrays. I want to buy one.
Mhm.
Like it's
Right?
genius. Like all of it. Like he does.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen is literally another like one of those almost. He don't even know he's my mentor because, but like
Right.
comedy, cannabis. He literally was able to make his own business where he sells his own weed, his own cannabis accessories, cannabis
Yeah.
furniture. I mean, and then has the cachet to do a show that blows my mind like The Boys and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all these other shows. And I'm like, oh my God, this is
Yeah.
this is exactly where you want to be, in this space where you have power from the entertainment business, but also power from the cannabis business that you've built. And now you can creatively do whatever the hell you want to do. And that's what he's doing. It's amazing.
Yeah. Now I found
And
this
it's Seth,
clip
if you're
of
watching this, please, because I know you watch all the shit. You're like one of those, ninja dudes. If you're watching this, both Grambo and I would love to work with you. I'm just saying it. We'll put it out there, and whether this clip might go viral, you never know. And then Seth might see it, and then we gonna be in Pineapple Express too, and replace, whoever we got to replace. You know what I'm saying? I'm just
I
saying.
love
I'm
that
just putting it
movie. That
out there,
movie's
man.
that movie's so Pineapple Express is legit good. It is a good movie. They nail like to make an action stoner comedy. I would have said it couldn't be done. It fucking was good. Car chases and gunfires and smoking doobies. It worked.
Bro, I'm
I'm talking.
I want to do every genre of movie, but stoner movie. And almost
Mhm.
sometimes you don't even have to, it doesn't necessarily have to be a stoner movie. You almost just have to acknowledge the fact that cannabis has been in the background of human history for basically the whole time, right? So I
Yeah,
mean,
no.
even if it's just a cowboy not smoking a cigarette but smoking a joint instead, or a farmer growing, instead of corn, growing cannabis in the background,
Yeah.
even that, like those subtle little things that just incorporate cannabis back into the story is kind of where I'm creatively trying to find stuff. And I have so many. Me and Mitch have a few script ideas already where we're working on like a Western, and like I don't want to say anymore because I have one idea where I'm not trying to even, because I live in Hollywood, man, and I don't know who's watching this, and I get paranoid now.
That's
So
all right.
I don't want to say all the good ideas because you never know what might happen. Oh my God, there's somebody might with a lot more money just produce that shit that you just podcasted about. Oh,
That's
so
real stuff. A Denver producer ripped off this idea that I had, and like I went to his show, and I was like, "Hey, man, you want me to just like give you like I got a lot of great ideas. You want me to just give them to you now, so you don't have to rip me off later?"
bro, the worst way that happened to me, because I directed a show in Chicago back when I first started acting, and this fool came in with his headshot and resume with his little, and his little theater credits. And one of the theater credits was a show that I directed and wrote.
Oh man.
But he had said that he was one of the people in the show. And I was like, bro, it says here on your resume that you were in, you know, La La La. And he's like, oh yeah, that was such a fun show. The cast was so good. And the cast was, I'm like, bro, I directed that show and I wrote it. I don't remember seeing you there.
That's okay.
And then he was like,
That's okay.
oh, and I'm like, yeah, maybe when you put a show on your resume, maybe at least know who wrote it, because it's me. So maybe you don't need to bother auditioning. And I just handed him his headshot back.
Oh my God. Yeah, people are crazy. One of the things that surprised me about dating, always trade like bad dating stories with girls and different people. It's always funny how much girls will be like on the profile, he said he was 6'2", he shows up 5'5". It's just like, in what world did you think that like what?
I don't
Come
understand why
on,
people
bro.
try to lie on the internet, because eventually if you
Yeah.
want to, interact with somebody in a live way, you will be found out, you know?
Yes. That is no fucking. It's funny though, because like I asked you about those smoking weed thing. I love how like our brains think like different. You're just slightly more positive than me. I was like, what with the smoking weed? Do you think all comedians smoke weed? He's like, oh, it helps with the creativity. I was like, oh, I was going with the we're all broken angle.
Well, that too. No, but at the same time, if we are all broken, what better thing to help? Because I call it my
Yeah.
medicine. It is my medicine.
No, the
You know?
the reason I started this channel, full 100% disclosure, the real reason, because like I get a lot of other like things, in the world, but I was in Vegas and I was filming with Jaron and the Jug Dealers guys, and so I'm following all the 5'8" crew around with cameras, and as I'm walking around, I'm looking, and it's like, I should really be hosting this fucking thing, I was like, and I sat and I was like, you know what, like when I get back to Denver, I'm gonna make a concerted effort to like by next year get some gigs hosting. Like I should be hosting the Emerald Cup. That'd be fucking cool. So I was like, I need to get in front of the camera more, and I can't be full me on Dude Grows. It would just be the Grambo show. I'm constantly yakking, got a million stories. So yeah, I'm investing my whole life into. I see cannabis is going to 10x over the next few years. All the grandmas are converting. And so yeah, guys like
My
us,
kid's
man, with
grandma,
the
my mom, has edibles every day. She takes edibles.
yeah.
She's a 2-time cancer survivor, and it helps her go to sleep. And anything that can help
So,
my mom, who has pains in her body because of being a 2-time cancer survivor, go to sleep, I'm gonna help her do it.
of
And I'm
course.
happy that I was able to share. And I told her, like when I told her, it was so trippy because my mom was like brown Nancy Reagan back in the '80s. You know what I'm saying? Like she was just say no.
Right.
You're gonna die. First time you try it, it's like cocaine. All the crazy things. And then when I told her, the only thing she said to me was, "Can you get me some?"
That's hilarious.
And so I
Yeah,
just so
that's
I
and that's it.
that's it. And
Yep.
it is a medicine. It's my medicine, and now it's my mother's medicine. And my dad doesn't need it, so he doesn't take it. My wife doesn't need it, so she shouldn't take it. But they both accept it in my life, and I'm good. I'm perfect. You know what I'm saying? My kids know that I do it. They know it's my medicine. I don't hide it from them. They know it's a plant. They watch it grow with me when I'm growing. So,
That's awesome.
that's like my whole lifestyle has been flipped because like I have a goal of being an advocate and being a part of decriminalizing and destigmatizing this plant all across the country. And if I can with my comedy a little bit, tell funny stories and help destigmatize it a little bit more and more and more and more. And every time they see me, whether it's an old Filipino Lola who's walking past looking disapprovingly at the Long Beach Film Festival, but then I make her laugh and then she comes back and, says, I don't do it, but I know a lot of my daughter, like all of my granddaughters do, or whatever it is, it, it it'll help, and so if I can do that for my community here in California and Chicago, and whoever's listening to the podcast, then I'm doing what I can.
Hell yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. Well, I think I'll start trying to land this plane. So as we're going
We could
out,
talk for
like,
hours, I
what do
think, bro.
you?
We're like kindred spirits,
Oh yeah,
brother.
yeah, 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 yeah. No, no, no. That's for sure. I see a world like. I mean, I don't see how we could not be doing. Like, we will meet. We'll be doing shows. It's like there's just
Oh
no
man,
chance
I'm
that
telling you right now,
like.
not this harvest. Maybe I'm gonna tell you by my fall harvest, I'm gonna start submitting. I'm gonna be one of them. I'm gonna submit. I want to win
Yeah.
the Dude Grows Cup. That's my goal for next year.
Yeah, I mean that's legit, man. I pressed my own rosin or Hot Rod's head stash, pressed my grown rosin for me, and I'm like legit smoking. I was like, dude, if we had a hash category, I think I might be able to take it. Like this shit's fire. Like,
Well,
yeah,
and
when you
see,
learn
that's
what you're
kind of the other
doing.
thing. I want to start learning all aspects. I mean, it'd be great if you can process. I'll send you the bud, and you get, or when oh, there go my dogs. But when I'm hanging out, and you could press my weed for me and show me how to do it. That'd be great.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, fucking yeah, we're definitely like the. So I took a lot of DMT back in the day, a lot. Like I did it like once a week, every week for a year and a half, And at the end of it, I had this weird religion about coincidence, and anytime there's patterns and weirdness that goes on, I just always go, yeah, I'm in. So I don't know what we're doing, Eric, but we're doing something. So we're gonna work together in some capacity. And
Hell yeah,
I
bro.
want
I
you to
love
take
this.
me. I want you to take me to the Philippines. I want to see those.
Bro, we're going. We're gonna do
Yeah, dude.
or you're gonna be in the secret Canna Creators movie project that we're working on right now. Cause
Son of a
it's
bitch.
gonna be a multiracial, multifaceted, everybody included type of thing. It's not just Filipino, it's everybody because everybody smokes
I am an
weed. And
actor. I don't act much anymore, but I always love acting, so I'm in.
all of that finds you, the art finds you, like we've been talking about the whole time, bro. The art finds you, and we're gonna help each other. You know what I'm saying? Like hanging out and
My
just talking with
man.
you. It's all good. It's just this is the
Well, we
beginning
still
of a
got
wonderful.
it's got 107 hardcore Graham fam still in the chat, and there's gonna be another couple thousand that watch this. How can they support you, brother? Where should they go?
Yo, just follow me at Canna Creators Grow, man. I feel like it, you gave me your street cred, man. You gave me your grow cred with hanging out and talking to me, bro.
I'm telling you, bro.
Again. I said it at the top, and I'll say it again. It's so cool to meet you. It's so cool to hang out with you, and it is an honor because I'm fanboying out still. Even we've been talking for an hour and a half. I'm still
My
going to be
man.
a fan of yours. I'm going to watch the show, and I'm always going to support all the things you're doing, man, because I
Well,
love what you're
for
doing.
real,
So
like for
thank
real,
you.
for real,
Thank you for
for
having me
real,
on.
for real. I didn't stream last week because I literally was like exhausted, bad dates, not feeling it. And in my head, I'm just some guy. And I was just like, no one cares. No one will even notice if I don't fucking stream. Right. And so everyone reached out and they said, like, all right. So today I was tired and didn't really feel like it. And I was like, oh shit, let me reach out, see if I can find somebody. And so yeah, man, seriously, that means an epic amount to me. Like I'm still new into this public persona game, so having people like you give me that amount of love, I'm not jaded yet, so it still means a fucking hell of a lot. And
Don't ever
you've
get jaded,
boosted
man. Don't
my
ever be jaded because
no,
like you said, the universe doesn't put stuff in front of you unless it's supposed to be there. So you know what I'm saying? This
hell
was
yeah,
supposed to happen, and it's all good. Not that Loki's not,
nope.
Loki has freed us from all that, so we're good. But I'm just saying,
Well,
you know, um, this
I'm
is a
in,
good
baby.
thing.
I got 28 minutes top, so I'll be opening for you, and we'll fucking rock the house somewhere, brother.
We'll be touring together. This would be great because then I know that I will never run out of weed. It'd be great.
My man. So check out the Canna Creators podcast. And if you want to support me, you can go to GRAMBO.shop, buy a t-shirt. I'm normally wearing it, but I got the bucket head today. So
Yo, we'll trade
GRAMBO.shop. The
shirts,
grow hats
man.
have been selling. Yeah, those are
Send me
dope.
your address. We'll
I
trade
love that.
shirts.
Yeah, man. I set up my store. It's like I don't have to like deal with it. It's drop ship, so it's like print to order. You order one, they print it, they ship it, and they bill me, and it's just all streamlined. I don't have to deal with inventory anymore. So
Well,
yeah,
send
I'll
me your
give you a
address
coupon
anyway because
code.
you can wear this shirt. I'm gonna send it to you for let me
Oh,
be on your podcast. It'd be great.
I will send you my address, and I will wear it on the Dude Grow Show. The biggest
I
thing we
love it.
do. We're pulling 400,000 views a month right now. Shout out to the Dude Grow
Oh,
Show. Those guys, they
shout
had their
out to the.
channel deleted. We started at 0, and we had a meeting, and I like stood up like in the locker room at a hockey game, and I was like, guys, I promise you, I know this hurts. I can get us back. And we had High C. Now High C's joining the Dude Grows team. Seriously, everyone support the Dude Grows app is coming out, so you guys can all go. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I don't know. Banner will get mad at me. RealDGC.com. I don't know. Maybe that's where you go to find secret stuff. Banner might really get mad at me, so I don't know. But Scotty will be happy that I told all of you. So Real DGC, there's an app coming. It's gonna be fucking dope. So shout out to Dude Grows. Jugdealers.net is live. If anyone needs any new Millennium products, Jug Dealers, I built jugdealers.net. I built their whole shop. I built the whole infrastructure for that. So if you like the website, go buy something. Maybe there'll be a Grambo coupon code someday or something. So that's how you can support it. Eric, thank you, man. This was epic. We went
Come on,
deep.
man. I love it, man. Anytime you need me on the show, just hit me in the DMs. I'm here for you, brother.
Fuck yeah. All right. Well, now you can get out of your house and go smoke something.
Always. Hey, happy Cinco de
My
Mayo, brother.
man.
Enjoy yourself.
Fuck yeah. All right. Well, don't jump off just yet. I'm gonna end the stream. So
Okay.
all right, everyone. Thank you guys. Subscribe if you haven't, share it if you can, and yeah, roll this video up and pass it to a friend.
Follow Canna Creators Grow, guys.
Fuck yeah. And smoke that like button. Bye.
Yeah, hit that like.